There are many tools in AutoCAD. Before we can use them, we must know where they are or how to get to them. At first, you'll need to hunt for tools that you want to use. That's okay. But in no time, you will learn where everything is, especially the tools that you use all the time. In fact, your muscles will remember exactly where they need to move to get the mouse to get to your commands. The main form of input in AutoCAD is the mouse. A typical mouse has 3 buttons. When you move the mouse, it moves the cursor. Many users will take advantage of a 5-button mouse. It's all up to you, of course, but all you have to have is your standard 2-button mouse with a scroll wheel, making it a 3-button mouse. Each one of these buttons has a specific function. Button number 1 is the left-click button. It's your main form of input. You click this button to select objects. Now, the right-click button can be set to several different functions. Out of the box, a right-click will bring up a shortcut window. So if I right-click right now, I get this shortcut window. It has a lot of different options to it. Left-click starts my selection window. Now, these are all very handy and useful. Many users, though, prefer to have the right-click function as the enter key. This is my preference. Actually, I use a sort of hybrid setting. I'll show you how to do this and how to make these changes. So if you want to customize your right-click functions on your mouse, you don't have to, but you can. To do this, you'll need to get to your options window. Now, to get to the options window, come up to this big red A right up here in the application menu. That's what this is called. Now, your options are down here at the bottom. It's that button called options. They're easy to miss, but they're there. Left click on it. This will bring up the options window, and this window has several different tabs. This is where you go to a lot of different settings for AutoCAD. It'll change how different things function, how you interact with the program, how things will be visually displayed. We want to go to the User Preferences tab right here. I'll come to this top left corner. This is the right-click customization. This is where you customize your mouse right-click settings. This is the default out-of-the-box setting. Right now, when you right-click on your mouse, a shortcut menu will open up. Now, there are several advantages to having this available. It'll put several commands near your mouse, making it very easy to get to them while you're working. Many users have their right-click act like the enter key. This is also very useful and time-saving. So when you press the spacebar or the enter key, it will execute the command you just used. It will also act like the enter key does when typing in text. So you can have both options, and it's a big time saver to have that available to you as a right-click function. So let's work with these settings. Let's look at the turn on time-sensitive right-click. Now, this gives you a hybrid setting, and this is the one I personally use, and it does both of these. Now, if I click this and turn it on, and when I right-click on my mouse, it will act like an enter key. But if I right-click and hold for 250 milliseconds, it will bring up my shortcut windows, just like it does out of the box. I like this because I get the best of both worlds. And this is the way I'm going to work throughout the rest of this video. So I click Apply and Close, and click OK. Clicking OK is the same as clicking the Apply and then clicking OK. So now when I right-click, it acts like the enter key. And the enter key will bring up the last command that you've just used if you aren't already in a command. Now, if I right-click and hold, it brings up my shortcut key. So I get both functionalities out of the same button. I like to do that. As you see, moving the mouse moves your crosshairs in the drawing. Using the scroll wheel will move the drawing area. So I can zoom in and zoom out just by scrolling it. Now, you aren't shrinking or enlarging your drawing. You're just zooming in and zooming out. This is a very handy tool, and this is one of the biggest tools that you're going to use to navigate through your drawing. There was a time in AutoCAD when you couldn't zoom in real time like this. It was terrible, trust me. So clicking and holding the scroll wheel, though, will start the pan command. So if I click it and hold it, you see the little hand come up on the screen, and I can drag it back and forth, up and down, or in circles, whatever I need to do. So using these two functions of the scroll wheel allows you to maneuver inside your drawing, and you can get to anywhere you need to just with the scroll wheel. One other thing you can do with the scroll wheel is to double click the scroll wheel button. This will perform what's called a zoom extents. If I double click it, it zooms all the way out so that you can see your work. So if I draw a rectangle really small on my screen, I can zoom in and out just by scrolling the wheel. If I click and hold the scroll wheel, I get the pan command, so I can pan around. And then if I double click, it'll zoom all the way in or it'll zoom all the way out, whatever it needs to do a zoom extent. So it zooms you to the extents of your drawing. So if I zoom out like this, double click, it zooms me in. If I'm zoomed in and I double click, it'll zoom me out. So that's a very handy tool. In between those three things, zooming by scrolling, panning around, and then the double click, I can navigate my entire drawing that way. Now your crosshairs are a very important tool. They are your target. Where your mouse goes, the crosshairs go. And where your crosshairs are is where your new lines, new text, and other objects will be placed in your drawing. I prefer to have my crosshairs fill the screen. I do this so that I can use them as a guideline when I draw. Now to change this, but only if you want to again, because you don't have to, open up the options window again. You can just type in OP, it makes it real easy to get to. Press the Enter key, and this will bring up your options window. Now you want to go to the Display tab here on the left. This tab will set up a lot of the display functions on your AutoCAD instance. I want to go to the crosshair size right here on the bottom towards the right. Right now they're set to 5. Now this determines the size of the crosshairs as a percentage of the screen size, as it says here in the tooltip. So my crosshairs right now will be at 5% of the total screen. So if I click this slider and drag it all the way across, now they will be 100% the size of the screen. I can drag it all the way down to the left and they'll only be 1%. So they'll be really small, or they'll be really big, or you can have them at 50%. Now you can also click in this box and type in the number that you want. So if I click OK, you see my crosshairs are a lot bigger now. I know a lot of people will set them up about this size. But if I go back into the options, click in my crosshairs size box, type in 100, and click OK. And now my crosshairs go all the way up and down and all the way to the left and to the right. Now your crosshairs consist of 3 major items: your vertical line, your horizontal line, and that little box in the middle is called the pick box. Now these 3 items are there for visual reference. The 2 lines are perfectly straight and they intersect at the center of this pick box. Now this point of intersection is the actual point where you will select objects or insert new objects. And also, by the way, if you don't like this background color, you can always change that. And don't worry about AutoCAD, because almost everything in AutoCAD can be changed or set or customized. Anyway, the main drawing area in AutoCAD is this large black field. This is where your drawing objects will go. There are 2 main spaces that you're going to draw in: model space and paper space. Model space is where your drawing objects go, and paper space is where your annotation and sheet objects go. Sort of like a title block or drawing border. We'll cover those 2 spaces in greater detail in another section. Another area that I want to mention before we go is the Info Center. This is where you can go for help. That's in this top right area up here in this top bar. Click on this arrow, you can see some other things here, and we'll talk more about these later on. You can log into your Autodesk 360 account. You can get to help by clicking on the little question mark there and get to different areas there that will help you out. And when you move your crosshairs off of the drawing area and up into the ribbon, it turns into an arrow, and that is where you point and click to select your commands.